Hi, Nancy. How you doing?
Good, Stefan. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Welcome to Better with Age. How about we start with you telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Where do I begin? I'm on the western side of Massachusetts. I live in the United States,
Yeah.
and I live with my family, husband Steve, and we have two Labrador retrievers. And my son is 23. He'll be graduating from UMass, which is right down the road. My husband just retired from UMass, so we have been in this area for 17 years. We met skiing, so alpine skiing is a big sport of mine. I've been a pro ski instructor for 26 years, and I was a ski patroller for 10 years before that. So, done a lot of years in the ski industry. I was a triathlete, and I met a lot of triathletes and got into running. And I've run 36 marathons. I've run Boston 13 times. I ran 305 Boston, was seventh master in Boston in 2007, the year I met my husband, actually. So marathoning was a big thing for me. I ran a lot. I run mountains. Now I don't run marathons anymore. I might do another one, but I'm run up Mount Washington. This will be my 13th year up Mount Washington, and I do the race to the top of Vermont, run up Mount Mansfield. I do a bunch of running, so I'm still into the running and cycling with my friends and all of that, but haven't done triathlons in a bunch of years. So it was during COVID that my friends decided, I don't know, people weren't getting together anymore as much. And I was looking to stay in shape and, be in the top of my game. And I had bought myself a rowing machine for my birthday. And I used it a couple times and just kind of put it in the back corner. And then during COVID, I thought, well, I'm going to break it out again and see what I can do. And I started to learn how to row on the indoor rowing machine by myself with videos and met a bunch of people in all the communities, the Facebook communities, and just found it was a very supportive group. So that's how I got into indoor rowing. And yeah, so that's a bit about myself. I'm a fundraiser. I worked for the American Cancer Society for 24 years and retired from there. And I was a consultant. So I've been a consultant and for nonprofits and raising money and doing peer-to-peer fundraising. Did some fundraising work with the Navy SEAL Foundation, the Arthritis Foundation, and did a little bit of my own, just kind of small nonprofits, just helping people out. And I'm a toastmaster. I love to speak. I'm a cancer survivor. 2010 was when I was diagnosed. So I'm 14 years cancer survivor, lymphoma, diffuse large B cell lymphoma. So I ran the Chicago Marathon 2/3 of the way through chemo. I ran like a 3:55, and I was in a Wonder Woman outfit my sister made, and my friend Kara ran with me, and she was wearing a Batgirl outfit. So we ran through Chicago in our outfits, and that was my cancer survivor story, was just share hope with cancer survivors that, you can just just do what you want to do and keep, feeling that energy from the things that you love to do, and it will take you wherever you want to go, and never give up. Just always have hope. That was my story, and I started speaking and spoken on stage a few times. I went to the division finals and working on, lots of different paths in Toastmaster. So I've been a Toastmaster for 6 years, and president and secretary and PR, VP PR. So right now I'm into the marketing thing. I do a lot of marketing work with Canva and social media, just kind of doing some social media stuff. And yeah, that's a lot, but yeah, that's me.
Wow, you're a very busy lady. Um, but congratulations, by the way, on your latest rowing record.
Yeah.
Which was it? Was it 2,000 meters?
Yeah. Well, I did the 2000 meters. So I got the 2000-meter world record when I was in Pittsburgh at the US Nationals. And then I just broke that record with a 728, right? 728. So it was 729.7 is the record. And then I broke that, and it's unofficial because I found out that for a 2K, it has to be witnessed and it has to be videotaped. And I did not videotape my 728, so I have to do it again. But I
Okay.
did. I did that, but I just had a world record Monday. Barb Hogan and I rode together. We did a 60-minute piece, and I got the world record and American record on Monday for that. Those records had been in place since 2016 and 2018 for the 60-minute piece. So I was pretty proud of that for Monday. I have 9 now. Yeah.
Okay. How
Yeah.
does that event with Barbara work? It's online, presumably.
Basically we did the ranking piece together. So we set up our own Zoom, like, we're talking here, you and I.
Yeah.
But when Barbara and I got together, we just set up a Zoom on ErgZone. ErgZone has a Concept 2 ranking channel. So I just, on my phone, I picked the rank. I did that one. So I could rank myself in the ErgZone Concept 2 channel. And yeah, and whenever you do a ranking piece, it's in your logbook. So ErgZone just goes up to logbook, just like all of, when you probably do this too to count your meters. That goes to the logbook and you're able to rank and you're able to verify it with your monitor, but it goes to your logbook so they know it's verified.
Okay. And when you did the 2,000 meters, that you did a good time, but you can't quite verify it as you described.
Right.
Were you setting out to break a record that day?
Well, I do the Fools Fest. It's probably my third year with Fools Fest. So Mia in Chicago has done with the Ergrats. They do this series of ranked events, and they do one a month. And it starts with a 1,000 meter in July. So this is the Only Fools Do 2K. So it's that event. So there's a whole bunch of people online live racing against each other on ErgZone. It's really cool. So this is my third year doing it. So every time I race, right, I'm very competitive. Obviously, you've pretty figured it out by now. I'm a very competitive person, so I'm usually just running. I'm against myself. I'm just like anyone, right? When in the indoor rowing world, you look at what was your last, what was your PB, or what's your season's best, or all of those. And I had all the numbers written down, but I know what I need to row, and this gets me in the brain. When you're against people, or you're live, and other people, you're not really against them, but you're racing. Everybody's racing, and it's like it comes up, attention, ready, row, just like you're at a race.
Yeah.
And so you just race. So yeah, I was definitely pushing. And the crazy part is when you do like world and you do US nationals, whenever you do the Concept 2 and they use the time team, you don't see your end result. So you'll see your projected finish time. So you can push to that and you can pace to that, right? You can do that. But when you're in a race, like world and US nationals, they don't give you that. They give you the people you're racing against. So I knew was kind of racing toward it, but I couldn't see that number to push toward when I was in those two races because it was crazy because I did the exact same time US Nationals 7:29.7 as I did in the World Championship, first round, right? So I did the exact same time. I could have pushed this a little bit harder. I could have.
Next time, Nancy.
Yeah, exactly. So funny.
And have you rowed on the water?
Not much. My friend Pam Miller, who is a coach Coventry Club on Lake Coventry in Connecticut, and she's like, "You have to row on the water. You would be amazing." And so she got me into single scull a few years ago, and then I bought it. But then I never get on the car and going out by myself. I have a kayak. It's just so much easier, you know what I mean, to get on the water. So I kayak on the water, but I don't row on the water and I don't compete on the water. And then she brought me again this past summer. I got in a double with her, which was even more fun than being in the single scull. So I could see getting into it in the future, but yeah, it's just got to be timing. Maybe when I'm not working so much and so busy, as you can hear.
Yeah, I thought that might be how you know Barbara Hogan.
Well, Barbara Hogan, how did I meet Barbara? She and I have been doing the Brian Fuller. Brian Fuller does those Mississippi. They did the round the world during COVID, and then I've done the Mississippi. I've done like 4 or 5 of his where you get a bunch of people together and everybody logs their meters and you go a certain like we just did the Kontiki challenge. So Barbara had recruited me for her group, and then she keeps recruiting me to be on her team for her group because I can be the captain, and I do the things in marketing where I can kind of celebrate the team and everything. And it's been wonderful because I got to meet some really great rowers there. But yeah, yeah, but not on the water. Nope, not yet. But she thinks I should be on the water
Yeah, I bet she does. Yeah.
too.
So you're rowing pretty seriously at the moment, and you've got a background covering lots of different sports. So right now, when you're rowing seriously, what else do you do?
Other athletics.
Other sports, yeah.
Yeah, other sports. Skiing. We ski from November, middle of November, all the way to we're going to Snowbird next week for a week in Utah, which is the end of our season. So we ski to the end of April. So that's a lot of time that I'm actually alpine skiing. It's alpine skiing. Cross country ski a little bit, and actually when Thais from Ergzone came up with her family, we went cross country skiing at Craftsbury. I alpine ski and I row, so I've been doing this rowing streak, right? I've done running streaks before, and then I saw a couple of people were doing these rowing streaks, and I'm like, you know what? That'd be a good thing to do consistently for me, just because I like to row first thing in the morning, and I row every day. I just found that even on my rest days, I go down there and I just take it easy, and I'll stretch and I'll do Vesper, and I don't go hard every single day, and I'll do like a minimum of 2K, I think has been my lowest I've done in my rowing streak, but I think I'm up to 1,084 today or something like that. I've been rowing that many days in a row, which has been really great for my skiing. So then when I get out and I'm alpine skiing and I'm skiing goat and I'm skiing moguls and I'm skiing steeps and I'm out there, I have no problem, and skiing all the way down. I don't have to stop at all. My cardio and my endurance and my strength are so good that
Mhm.
I don't get tired. I'm not tired.
Okay. In the sports that you're doing, so principally rowing right now, is
Yeah.
there anything that you want to achieve next apart from getting that 2K properly verified?
Yeah, no, well, I do have the world record. I was just beating my own world record. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I run, and I'll run like 2 days a week, and I'm mountain running. So Mount Washington is coming up in June. So I'll do Mount Washington in June, and I'll do the race to the top of Vermont in August. And those are the two big mountain races that I do in the summertime. I might do some more of those. I love that community. I love the running community. So uh, those are definitely in the pipeline too. There's a whole bunch of things. High rocks, CrossFit. I was looking at high rocks this morning because my girlfriend was like, you should look at high rocks, and they close out really quick. And Brick next year, there's a high rocks event that's right near Brick. So she's like, oh, we should do Brick, and then we'll go and do the high rocks in the same trip. Those things I haven't thought about like what it would take to get my training up to do those things, but I love trying new things and I love doing new things, and I like seeing how I can do and I can be competitive. And I found that's what like rowing was to me, because I found that when I started ranking my pieces that I was top. I'm like, if I looked at the ranking, I'm top in almost every single piece, 2,000 meters and higher. I'm number one in my age group, all of them. I haven't done a marathon this year, which I was going to do a marathon before the end of the season, just so I could see if I could get that one too. So I'm going to do a marathon when I get back from Utah, um, on the rowing machine. And yeah, and that's another record that I need to get. So I have the American record for the 55 to 59. So I need to get that record. So I have this whole record quest spreadsheet of mine, and and I know what those records are, world records are for every single one. And I have nine right now, so I think I have six in this age group already. So I really would love to just sweep the thing. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, it certainly would. And Nancy, I know that you're a coach. I mean, you've talked about that on your website. But are you coached at the moment?
Yeah, I love getting coaching. I used to think, I don't need a coach. You know what I mean? Because I'm a coach and I can figure it out, right? And then I can put myself on a plan, and I do. I need to put myself on a plan, because usually when I get a coach, it's for a specific sport. So
Yeah.
just getting a coach that's an expert in that sport. So when I did Mount Washington one year, I had Kim Nato is my running coach. So I've had a running coach for Mount Washington. I don't have a running coach right now. I'm a VIP member for Live to Row Studios, so I have a coach there. I have coaching. We have one-on-one sessions, and we're on a plan. I'm doing endurance camp right now, so there's 3 live sessions, 2 on-your-own sessions. So they describe a whole plan that I follow for this time of year, and they have a camp for almost every single season. I think I kind of take the summers off from camps, but they have a fall training camp, and then they have a sprint, fall, winter, sprint, and then now is the endurance camp. So
Okay.
yeah, and it's Justin Newst and Stephen Pryor, but Justin is pretty much the one that I talk to the most about planning, or if like the CTC or something, like give me a strategy. And right now I'm in this erg endurance series that they're doing. They have an erg power series, and then they did this erg endurance series, which is super fun. So I'm doing a quarter marathon. Actually, I'm going to do that tomorrow morning
Okay.
for the erg endurance series.
So just probing that a little bit further, what is it that you get from coaching? Because you know what you're doing, and you've tried lots of different things. So a little bit more specifically, what do you get from being coached?
Yeah, I think it's somebody that can kind of take a look at your numbers and really tell you what your potential is. And, if you want to get faster, you're going to have to change this about your stroke. So there's certain things, and I mean, I was self-taught when I got to them. I was rowing at a 140 drag factor at a 33 stroke rate, like, you know crazy. And throwing my back, and I mean, you can see the video. It's crazy because Justin has the video of when we did our one-on-one when I first went to them. And it's crazy how when you change and you learn and you can find out where can you make gains, right? Where can you make those inches, right? So whether it's drive length, right? So my drive length is super short, right? I need more drive. I need more length in my stroke. I need to get more power out of my legs in that drive portion of the stroke. And if I can do that, I can go so much faster without getting tired, and being able to keep that endurance. Because I'm an endurance athlete, obviously. Oh, and I've done 4 Ironmans too. So I've done
Okay.
4 Ironmans and two 50-milers runs. Yeah. So so my background really is in endurance, but
Yeah.
technique is huge. And I mean, you can videotape yourself and you can kind of tell yourself what you think you need, but our coach sees me, and in camp, he can tell me, you're grabbing at the catch, your jacket at it, right? So you got to hang more. You got to keep your arms and relax and don't pull, because as an athlete, you're kind of thinking you're going to use whatever muscles you can to get fastest. And so I'm thinking, I'm going to pull, I'm going to pull on that thing. And the row, your strength is from your legs, not from your arms. Your arms are in the finish, and that's it. So I've learned a lot because I've been with them 4 years. I've learned a lot from their coaching, and I still get a lot from their coaching, not just from coaching me, but from coaching other people, because other people do the same things I do. Like, I don't sit up, or you hang over too much. So like sitting up helps you get longer. And who would think that?
And however well you do, there'll always be something more to learn. So
Right.
never
There's
ending.
always, always, always. And I've got really strong legs, but I don't activate them enough. I know I don't. I know I can do more.
But there was something I saw you wrote in a post about having one pace.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe this is kind of a bugbear that you have, that you're one pace, but you're doing lots of different kind of events. So
Yeah.
tell me a bit more about that. What do you mean by one pace?
Yeah, yeah. So my friend Bella, she's the one that tells me I have one pace. Yeah, we all know you got one pace because I'm really not a sprinter. I really have a hard time sprinting. Even sprinting at the end, right? I'm not one to like throw up afterwards or want to dive off the erg afterwards, because I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm an endurance athlete. I just
Okay.
tick along. So I can do like a 155 pace That's like my pace, 150, 155. I mean, 150 is just more of a sprint side for me, but I mean, I'm right there like all the time. Like if you look at all my pacing, even so my 2K is like a 153, 152, right? So they're all like right within that 150 pace. If I can stay within that 150 pace, my best marathon on a rowing machine is a 259. So that's again not that much far off. Like if you look at like a 2 minute or sub 2 minute, for me, that's my pace. That's what I do. And for me to try to increase that and get faster, I'm going to have to do more sprint work and really try to push myself in that area to get that pace faster.
Yeah, well, that will be a change in technique, I think, somewhere. And Nancy, how has your competitive nature developed over the years? Are you as competitive now as you were, 10 years ago, or are you more competitive? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was a basketball player. That's how I began, right? I was a basketball player in high school, in middle school, I did all that. I played basketball in college too. So I'm a short basketball player. Plus I'm a short rower too. I'm 5'5", which doesn't give you a lot of leg. But I push hard and I'm very competitive. I want to do my best at whatever I do all the time. And I'm really more competitive to myself. I think when I was doing triathlons, there were certain women that I wanted to beat, and I think if even not so much that you want to beat them, but they motivate you, they push you. I mean, like you look for strong women to help lift you up, and you as a strong woman help lift other people up. But being competitive is more for myself and doing the best that I can do, and having these records and having these rankings and having just people relating to that, I think has been great for me. I think in the indoor rowing world, having this online worldwide community of people who can relate because it's the same on your rowing machine as it is on my rowing machine. So we can relate to each other that way. And you can be proud of somebody. You can look at their numbers and be like, wow, that's fast. And
Yeah.
and it's a different mindset than toeing the line with sneakers on and running against people because you don't get that same camaraderie, you don't get that same support, you don't get that same I can relate to your training because you're training with me, or you know having that running background is good, but and I have a lot of running friends who are very supportive, but I think that it's a little different when you're doing the indoor rowing thing because it's a very lonely sport. You're pretty much all by yourself. And I found with Zoom and the whole COVID thing had us all be virtual, connecting with each other, that's been one great thing from COVID is being able to connect with people. I have friends from all over the world that I compete against and that will congratulate me, like Leslie Duffy from Australia, and I met her in person in Prague. So when I got to meet these people in Toronto and Prague, so I've been to two of the World Indoor Rowing Championships. This is absolutely phenomenal. I got to meet Rod there too, in Prague. But she wrote me a note, congratulations. And I said I had her name on my sticky note because she had ranked number one in that 60-minute piece. She goes, well, it felt good to be there for 24 hours anyway. She goes, no apology. You don't need to apologize. I was like, because we all push each other and we all, we're happy for each other when you achieve certain things. And it doesn't matter what your numbers are. And I'm not competing against you. I'm competing against me, and
Yeah.
I just want to be the best I can be. And I think I am competitive. I am as competitive as I was when I was a
Excellent.
kid, and I've always been pushed that way.
Yeah, and how do you therefore manage your rest and recovery? How does that go?
Yeah, I think sleep is very important. I go to bed pretty early. I mean, I fall asleep early anyway. I fall asleep. My husband's like, you got to go to bed. So like it'd be like 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm asleep, and I get my 8 hours sleep because I'll get up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. And my dogs will get me up and get me out the door, and so I make sure I get my sleep, and I think that is number one important for rest and recovery. And I don't go hard all the time. I really don't go hard. I think the going hard piece. wears you out, especially in the endurance pieces. You get tired, and I'm a power napper. So if I do a early morning hard piece and I'm tired, I'll go down and I'll take a nap for 45 minutes, and then I can function the rest of the day. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do. I think nutrition is important. I have a protein shake, first form. I do Formula One. I do all the things that I need to do to fuel my body at the right time. So immediately after the workout, I'm getting in my nutrition. And if it's a late workout, I get in some nutrition before I work out. So I think a lot of that pre recovery stuff is important for your body, as well as taking the light days and taking the rest days and making sure you get your sleep. And I think that's the most important thing. And knock on wood, I have not been sick this whole season, like this whole year. And I really think it is because of my activity level and because of my nutrition.
Yeah, and a lot of older athletes, if you don't mind me calling you an older athlete, are living with long-term injuries or some kind of physical weakness that they've always had to work with. Have you got anything like that? Is there something that you're frightened of? I mean, personally, my hamstrings always seem to go,
Right.
but you can't do anything about it. You just have to work around
Yeah.
it.
Well, I've done 36 marathons, right? Two 50 milers and four
Wow.
Ironmans. So I have a lot of miles on my legs, and I'm an alpine skier. So I have a complete tear ACL that they took a piece of my hamstring to rebuild my ACL. That was in 2005.
Yeah.
But yeah, the knees, but then the doctor said you really shouldn't run anymore, and I love to run, and I couldn't stop running, so I didn't stop running, and I ran my fastest marathon after my ACL surgery. And I had an MCL on the other leg, so I mean I have ripped my knees apart, and I've just built them back up. I built them back up, and but then I started running and skiing and running and skiing. I kept doing the Boston Marathon. I kept running, and I do 2 marathons a year. And so I kept doing it and doing it, and skiing as well as running really torques your knees. And I started getting fluid buildup. And
Okay.
3 times I had like this amount of fluid taken off my knee. It was
Okay.
really awful. And I thought I had a posterior cruciate. Like I couldn't even walk. I was like 3 weeks before the Boston Marathon, I could barely walk, and I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. So I ended up getting the fluid off, but the doctor said that's the healthiest 50-year-old knee I've ever seen. So that was when I was 50. But yeah, knees. I always think knees, and I think when I'm walking around in ski boots, my knees are definitely my issue. Oh, and I broke my wrist. I'm an
Okay.
inline skater. I rollerblade. Yeah, so I did a marathon on rollerblades, but it was on my birthday and I fell and I broke my wrist. So, but I'm okay with my wrist. It's aches and pains here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're 15 years on from your cancer diagnosis, which you then beat. How do you kind of reflect on that whole cancer thing now?
Yeah, I work for the American Cancer Society, and having had cancer, and anybody that has somebody that has cancer, a friend or a relative or somebody diagnosed with cancer, they'll send them to me to talk to me.
Okay.
And so I get to reflect on it quite a bit because, it's hard. It's a hard thing when you think you're going to die, right? You
Yeah.
don't know. And when you're going through chemo, I'm a photographer too, and I did some self portraits of myself bald and no eyebrows. And I was really strong. I stayed strong during my cancer treatment, but it was definitely the hardest thing to go through, more even because of your family, what they have to see from you. To me, sometimes I think about it, it's like a blur. Like I don't even remember much of it. But I had a great doctor, Dr. Mullally and Dr. Barnes, and I just had these amazing doctors that just gave me so much hope. And like my white blood cell just got really fast, right back up to speed. And I just think it teaches you a lot about um, living every day, right? Celebrate birthdays. You know, American Cancer Society used to have this whole theme was about celebrating every single birthday. I celebrate every single birthday, and I celebrate everybody. Like when they post the birthdays on the Diamonds page, right? It's like yes, you know, it's like another year on the sun, and like you know, it's about really appreciating everything you have every single day, and don't let that time go by where you don't tell somebody how great they are and how you know just even like your friends and like you know like people suffering from mental illness like COVID did so much to really mess with people's heads. It's like just telling people you are great and like taking the time to make a real comment on a you know a really nice comment on social media. There's so much bad stuff on social media right now that kind of like spin it around, you know, like make it a kind thing. And that's what I love about the Diamonds page. I post there more than I do on my own Facebook page or even on Instagram because I know that they'll all love me so much and like it feels really good. And I mean, I think we need to really care about each other more. And I think that having cancer when your life is almost taken away from you, and I could have died, you know, lymphoma cancer. I was stage 4 too. I wasn't even like stage 1 or 2, you know, it was like stage 4. And then they found more cancer. They thought they found more cancer and they had to remove my spleen. So they found some spots. So I said, take it. 6 weeks later, I ran Boston, right? So yeah, so it was like, you know what? Just just live your life every single day.
So I mean, you're very high energy, very busy, very competitive. Were you at that level in all of those things before cancer, or did cancer enhance that?
Yeah. I was very competitive before cancer. And I was very active before cancer too. No, I think I'm the same. I think cancer has changed my brain thinking,
Okay.
you know, and really like you know, how fragile life is, right? I just went to see my mom. She's in her 80s. And so I went to see my mom and my aunt and my uncle. My uncle's got leukemia. You know, it's just like how fragile life is and how you just need to appreciate every single day and live every day and love people, you know, and tell people that you love them and care about them and be there for people when they need you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you were Toastmaster now, Nancy. Yeah, that's pretty challenging, I think. What does that involve?
Yeah, I'm a leader in the Toastmaster world too. I was the president during COVID, which was just crazy because when the world stopped, it was like, okay, we're going to be on Zoom, we're going to support each other, we're going to get here. Um, it is challenging, and I love it. I do love it because I come from a family of storytellers. My dad was a big storyteller. My Uncle Fred, I have all these old pictures of Uncle Fred, and he was a speaker back in 1911, right? And so he is a storyteller. And then my uncle Joe, he was too. He would go around all of Saratoga, New York area, and he would tell stories, and he'd get up on stage and talk and all of those things. So I come from that background and a bunch of storytellers. So I love to tell stories. Oh, listen to me now, right? Telling you all my stories.
Well, you are an author as well, aren't you?
Yes, yes. Oh, and I have my book right here. Seeing is believing. I wrote this book. Yes, here it is. And that was during COVID too. I met this woman who's a publisher in Canada. And it was a Zoom group, right? So the two of us, Carolyn from Oxygen Publishing, she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a publisher." And I was like, "Well, I wrote this story. I wrote a tall tale speech, and then I turned it into a poem. And so it's this poem about believing in yourself, you know? So the whole story is about believing in yourself, but it's about teaching a little girl how to ski. And it was super fun to do. It was one of my dreams to do that. And I did it, and it was a bestseller. It was like number 6 on Amazon when I launched it, and so that was super fun. I'm hoping to write another book really soon. I've got some ideas in the queue and just being able to just continue to share those stories and write books. And my aunt writes books. My aunt Sandy's an author and my aunt Pat, they're both authors, and my uncle Joe is an author.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Nancy, fantastic talking to you. How can
Thank
people
you.
keep up with you? You've got a website, I think. Is that right?
Yes, nancypetcook.com. I have a blog on nancypetcook.com, and I'm on Instagram too. So Instagram, and I'm on Facebook, but I'm more on Instagram, and I'm on the diamonds.
Yes, of course you are. Yeah, yeah.
You
Every
follow me
day.
there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, that's great. Thank you very
Yeah.
much for your time, Nancy, and I'm sure we'll talk again.
Okay, great. Thank you, Stefan.
Thanks. Bye.
All
Bye.
right.